I hope you had a better New Year's than GloomTube. It is 2023, my friends, and we are back, and my name is Adrian Pocobelli, and this is Artist Journal, my Artist Journal, January 2nd, 2023, in Berlin, Germany, broadcasting to the internet. It's funny, I have to remind myself, it is an artist journal. This is a journal that I share publicly, my private thoughts that I share publicly on what is going on, really, actually just from an artist's perspective. That's why we kind of go everywhere, but my kind of obsession right now, my fascination is with what's going on in the digital art scene, particularly on these crypto blockchains, like Tezos and Ethereum, where we are seeing what seems undeniably to be an art movement of some kind. Again, if you just think of the contemporary art world, and if you were to go to all the, websites and everything, I feel like GloomTube here has captured the zeitgeist. Here we have a unhappy face guy throwing his Jack Daniels at the television and at the news, at what's coming to him from his TV. And I think, at his New Year's party that didn't, that sucked and all this sort of stuff. And so I think GloomTube captures the zeitgeist, the spirit of the times. So anyways, I hope you had a wonderful time. We had a great time. We ate tacos. I like to keep it simple on New Year's. Maybe I was living in, actually, we went out to the street in Berlin, fireworks are everywhere, and maybe I was living a little bit vicariously through my friend who was at Berghain, his friend was DJing at 6 in the morning on, I guess that would be New Year's Day in the morning, so New Year's Eve night, New Year's Day. And I was thinking to myself, it's January 2nd, that party probably just wrapped up. Like they have, from what I understand, they're like 3-day parties. So I was thinking to myself, Bob, are you still there? I should message Bob, but he's probably going to sleep for the next 3 days. Anyways, welcome back everyone. Let's get into it. So super cool work here. At first I thought, is this a retro TV? But it's not. It's a new TV. So, which makes sense. Interesting 2023 balloons, interesting colors. I missed this one because it came out, I think, on like New Year's morning. Just Command 0. Let's just see exactly the time. Did he put it out? Yeah, that's cool. 12:06 New Year's Day. So that's super cool. So huge fans of GloomTube. I'm a huge fan of GloomTube over here. Trashing the house on New Year's Eve. Going for 39 now. Nice kind of low edition of 15. So a little more collectible. So, which is probably why it's already at 39 Tezos. So anyways, he keeps it real, doesn't he? He sells them for 12. He could sell them for 30. He could make a lot more money. And this is almost something I wanted to say before we move on. These kind of misanthropic artists tend to be some of the nicest people. GloomTube, and remember, I don't know if you were around, but, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, he was asking people if they want to collaborate. People like Die With The Most Likes, they're very nice people. So these, people who have kind of these brutal, misanthropic kind of themes can sometimes be some of the nicest people, and it makes sense because they are sensitive to human nature and all of its foibles and all of its shortcomings. So anyways, we have a lot to go through. So I went through the process. RuneTune was also going through the process on Twitter there, going through Manifold XYZ. I did figure it out. So thank you. Actually, a couple minted, so that's totally awesome. This, for me, this was something that was on my desk for like 6 months, and it just wasn't working. And I was given a deadline to myself. I was like, fine, I'll do the open edition. And then I kind of worked it out where I was kind of happy enough with it. Don't mind it at all. Got some nice comments about it. And so I was pretty happy about it, actually, how it worked out. So open edition, there's only 2. So a low edition number. And all to say, there's nothing like a deadline, because I was like, okay, this is going to be what I'm going to put out on open edition. But if I don't, but it was the deadline. So it just forced me to finish it. It had to be out by today to get your Manifold XYZ contract in place. Quick thing I want to say, if you haven't put out an open edition, is you actually need to get the app. Like on manifold.xyz, if you click on apps somewhere, that's how you do this open edition thing. So I was trying to figure that out just from setting up the contract. And I don't want to go too deep into that, because if you haven't done this, you're going to be kind of lost. But anyways, here it is, Europe. Thanks for the 2 mints, and thanks for the retweets, everybody. The tweet did fairly well, so I was thrilled about that. And shout out to Turkarak for picking up Sunset. Huge fan of Turkarak's work. It's standing up over the months here as I kind of keep track of Turkarak, that great, speaking of misanthropic artists, right? I mean, there's a total, what I interpret as misanthropy. And also an anonymous collector who's just buying 8x8 8Bidoo works here, picked up Cloud and Sunset. So anyways, thrilled to see those go. Thank you for that. Kind of a quick, huge correction. So I was talking about this being like a heart, but I was going by memory, and I was like, maybe it's like a brain. It kind of looks more like a brain. I should do a little more research before I start lecturing on the creation of Adam by Michelangelo. So anyways, I did a little bit of research, and it was actually the brain. Okay, and I kind of mentioned that in passing, and I wasn't, so all to say, I just want to make sure I'm putting out good information out there. So this is the thing, is some people would say that God here in Michelangelo's creation of Adam is reminiscent to the brain here, and it's kind of a persuasive case. I mean, when you kind of, half close your eyes here, it kind of does look like brain matter a bit, and they were studying anatomy, and even just like this, So just kind of an interesting theory here, and you look at the shape here, even at the back, how it kind of has this little, extra area, and you kind of see that here. So a very interesting theory. So luckily the internet helped me out there. So a comment from Egor NFT from Poland, shout out Egor. I thought this was super interesting what he said here that I wanted to share. Last time I analyzed the market and many Tezos blue chips were sold, so ETH whales come to our ecosystem. Who knows, like perhaps. What do you think about making a Q&A video? So first of all, I get the sense that the nature of the NFT market on Tezos is changing a little bit. It's just buzzing. It's buzzing. Like there seems to be something happening. I'm calling it like the X copy effect or whatever we want to call it. But it seems to be, and it could have nothing to do with that, or maybe partly to do with that. It could also have to do with Tezos being at 70 cents. So if you thought about going to Tezos, now is your chance. Like it is a wonderful time to collect. And, you can get all sorts of stuff that you basically couldn't afford before because it was $3 or $4 or $2. I mean, it's kind of crazy how these things go up in price because it's all multiplies by the Tezos price. So all to say, I think you're onto something, Egor. There seems to be a change in the market, is what my antennae are saying. If you disagree, feel free to leave a comment. A couple of more just Manifold XYZs. There's a lot that came out. I thought this one was pretty cool. A slightly different mechanism here, burn to redeem. So if you burn this thing, if you burn 5 of these, you get 1 of these. The name of the artist, I am not sure. But if you put like a search for burn to redeem, or no, at the wrong time in quotes, I should have found the artist here, but anyways, cool work. And yeah, so that is Manifold XYZ. So all to say, this is probably in the app, like one of those apps, like there's probably an option of burn to redeem. So check out the apps on Manifold. I'm so glad I finally checked out Manifold XYZ. It was on the to-do list for literally 6 months, maybe longer. And also Martin Joe, I believe this is Martin Joe with an open edition, Retrato en San Juan de la Frontera. So with the bears in the 3D and a little Adidas and Fuma Adios and Fuma. So anyways, so people are having a lot of fun here, and they're very affordable. Here was another one that kind of caught my eye. Neuster Anfang, so a new beginning in German. Drawmama.eth, faultless moment to outburst a new energy, open edition, available for another 10 days, and again, very reasonably priced. So it's fun to do that, and, you know, kind of reminiscent of that artist who we see that does all the mystical works, whose name escapes me right now. But anyways, pretty interesting work. All sorts of great stuff. Here's a new discovery for me, Porta Malmar. So with this collage, this is a collage. It looks like a digital collage. You see this perfect circle here and the gradients. One would think this is a digital collage. Very interesting, if you ask me. And I think Amelia Versace picked this up for like 4 Tezos. She put an offer in. So this is a 1 of 1, by the way. So what a steal. And accepted, okay? So 3 Tezos this went for. So let me show you just a few more. This is probably someone who just started and has, you know, maybe not much. There's no Twitter, right? So there's always talent to be discovered here. So and look at how much they've been putting out. They have 11 pages. So you see, I mean, this is a lesson in the importance of Twitter in terms of, you know, just building your audience. Maybe this video will help out a little bit. So Porta Malmar, here's just some other works. A 1 of 1. This went for 5. Amelia Versace. So the secret's out, Amelia. So anyways, just some cool, what looks to me like digital collage, maybe combined with traditional for 2 Tezos. So 1 of 1s, I mean, you can't really do better in terms of buying and frankly investing in art when it's that cheap. I put in a bid on this one. This one was really nice. And again, this looks like digital collage for sure. Really bold, this blue paintbrush, you know, or pencil. And again, this nice combination. It looks like a sun, beautiful rendition of the body. So anyways, very interesting artist. And these almost kind of have a similar feel. We've looked at Rosaccio before. Rosaccio, they have quite a few followers, don't they? 475, 30 collectors. And it's really interesting. Rosaccio is doing quite well. Just makes the reserves very low. Like this reserve seems to be 0.05. So you can't really complain as a collector, and it's not like you have much to lose. I mean, what is that? Like 50 or 60 bucks for a 1 of 1 on Ethereum of pretty nice work. And let's just take a look at the work, you know, and kind of interesting in what's going on. Again, almost looks like collage or something with this black mask over top and then stuff put on top. You know, again, very collage-like feel to it. Pretty beautiful work. And again, you know, available for 21 hours. Someone puts a bid in for 0.05. I guess they lowered their amount, but again, it's better to move art. Like I'm probably going to lower on a bunch of work on Super Rare just because I'd rather move it, right? Even if it's going for cheap. You know, that, you know, manifold thing might be like 2 or 3 people, and that's fine because at least it's moving. It's getting out there. It's off my desk. Maybe most importantly of all, embracing randomness, another one. So again, pretty original work, you know, looks great. I think the selling price is really smart. Sold for 0.06, digital collage and digital drawing. 4,000 by 5,000, pretty big resolution. So we've been following Villain Mask for the last few weeks here, and they have another one, Zero Gravity Instinct. I'm liking the evolution of their work, Villain Mask's work, and it kind of has a video game feel to it. And it's hard for me to place, actually. I mean, it looks like 3D figures, you know, the crown, again, video game sort of work, but then almost like textured pencil over here. So just kind of, again, what I'd call pretty original work. And look at this mirror here, and even the signpost that's kind of knocked over in this almost surreal landscape. So it's kind of like video games meets surrealism. If I had to kind of summarize what's going on. Zero gravity instinct. So point 2 on foundation. There's a ton of great work on foundation, isn't there? And I think they were super smart to remove the invite process, because I think that's probably why Super Rare started onboarding so many people in the last couple of months. One of the reasons. Another is because there's just so many great artists that weren't on Super Rare, so it was time. But because foundation, like, people are buying on foundation, and you gotta love the one-day auction, which I think Super Rare also kind of, because they didn't put the auction function in for not till last year, I think, or about a year ago, I think, if I remember correctly. Look at this work by Memocat. Look at this work by Memocat, Floating Memories, 0.1 ETH, so just got a bid. This was listed about a month ago, so I was gone, so I don't think we've showed this yet. Anyway, it just got a bid. It's pretty, again, it's kind of Memocat meets surrealism. And again, when you come to a new blockchain, sometimes it inspires new work, and when you think that maybe you can get more money for it, it kind of inspires more ambition in the work sometimes too. So beautiful colors and just everything. So just very fun to follow. Ezra Eslin, a couple of works in progress as we kind of move into a illustration area. Pretty interesting to see her, she knows perspective, obviously. Let's work for the first piece of the new year. And it's just interesting how she does things in blue first, like a real draftsman. Of course, Ezra Eslin is, if you had to ask me, she's out of Istanbul, and if you had to ask me where is the hottest place for artists right now, it would be hard for me not to say Turkey. There are a ton of good artists coming out of Turkey. Haiti Rocket, Sumi Reyusi, Ezra Eslin, and I am missing others. And so I'll come back to that. There are a ton of good artists coming out of Turkey. So how interesting is that? And I think also Indonesia, I think Memocat might be out of Indonesia, so this is really exciting, and where else are they going to come but through the blockchain, because it's so hard still to get into these into the contemporary art world. But anyways, nice looking draftsmanship. And on that front, Dana Ulama, and I was going to say, where is she from? She got an iPad Pro, and look at how good this is looking. And it's pretty funny. I'm still merging as many layers as I can out of habit in order to save RAM. That's so funny, because anybody that works with an iPhone or a tablet will relate to that. So anyways, looking pretty nice over here. Continuing on, now this is by Flostitanarum, if I can pronounce that right, and this is called Wijaya Kusama. This is on Super Rare. So a pretty interesting illustration, I guess we could call it, with, I don't know if we'd call it an illustration, just, it's not painterly, let's put it that way, it's more in an illustrative camp, and just kind of a wild, kind of has a bit of a mystical, almost lotus flower type stuff. Interesting colors. Here it almost has a Louis Osborne kind of feel. Kind of designery a little bit. There is a ton going on in this thing. Actually, the detailed colored bricks, so it's a gorgeous, gorgeous work. ETH.co won it for 1 ETH. And it was interesting. It was minted on November 11th. Someone made a bid right away for 0.5, but the artist stuck to their guns, and then December 31st, ETH.co picked it up for an ETH. So maybe there's a little lesson there. And let me just see if we can see where this artist is from. Indonesia. Printmaker and illustrator based in Indonesia. So the so-called Global South, as people basically are now calling non-Western parts of the world, we are seeing a really impressive effluence of art coming from the Global South. Here's another kind of illustrative work, Summer Blues, just a GM to everyone, Happy New Year, and have a smashing 2023. So we've looked at summer blues before, and I thought that just kind of fit nice. Here's someone that I discovered through Turdurak's collection, Kudu Kola, and kind of has a bit of a Turdurak feel to it, drying program. I thought this was a nice work. And so there's a dryer, and I thought just kind of an original, interesting work. They had a bunch of one-of-ones for like very cheap. So I picked them up like for a Tezos, 2 Tezos, this sort of thing. I think one was 10 Tezos, but you see right here, this went for a Tezos. I think this is gone. But it's sort of like, you can't go wrong picking something up for 70 cents, a one-of-one. So there's still a lot of gems out there. This is another lesson in, I guess for lack of a better term, marketing and PR. This is a work, I was going through my old bookmarks. This is a work from a year ago, January 24th, 2022, and it was in my bookmarks. It was $2.80. So probably at the time, Tezos, it would have been like $8 or $10. Now it's like $2.20 or something. Let's say $2. And I looked and none had sold. None had sold, and I actually thought it was a pretty cool work. Like, so I picked it up because I like keyboard kind of synth works. So anyway, I'm a big fan of this whole kind of theme, I guess, for lack of a better word, of synths and computers and people. Basically, the artist we could even call the name of the show, as Sumi put it beautifully in her series, Modern Studios. That's like, this is like a modern studio. Continuing on, Orkan Isayev. Sorry, did we get the name of that artist? Let me just see if we can get the name of that artist. No, maybe that's part of the problem. And I showed this one on the Christmas show. Now, here's another kind of lesson too, which is, you see, after this person didn't sell any basically till today, like a year later, when I picked one up this morning, that's probably why they stopped making art. I'm guessing, or at least posting here. It's like, what's the point? If you're, you put out your 15 editions, they're selling, for a pretty reasonable price. You put a lot of work in and nobody picks it up. So kind of a lesson in, you have to get out, you have to put yourself out there. This person, you kind of got to play the game according to what it wants to a certain degree. In a sense, a lesson in pragmatism. Like this person, they probably should have had a name here, gotten a Tezos name. And this is for everybody that's not set up on Tezos, get a .tez profile so that you can have your name, and get a Twitter. And at least then there is a chance that you'll be discovered, other than me, clicking on Christmas, and then I'll give them a follow in case they ever post again. I hope they do. And and here they are collecting all this stuff. And but you can tell they haven't collected for a while. So hopefully they come back. Orkan Isayev. So we've looked at a few illustrations, kind of sci-fi inspired illustrations by Orkan. And this was another beautiful one, GM, with kind of a Paris feel to it. And again, kind of has a weird, almost kind of Japanese manga sci-fi. So just a really, really cool artist. Are they on Super Rare? I feel like, yeah, they are. Vintage sci-fi. That's what they call themselves. Okay, that sounds about right. Here's some kind of wild, pixelated work here, GM peeps. What I love about this is this kind of takes like a comic drawing and completely upends the illustration lines and pixelates them, and kind of does it in a pretty bold way that is kind of, for lack of a better term, upsetting. Like it's just like you're not supposed to do that, and I think it works really nicely. So kind of interesting work. And we have another one that's kind of along a similar line. This is Sophie Augura, and this buy for $95. Wow. Let's see if I can make it bigger. So it just looks like a couple of cartoon anime figures, but again, pixelated, and this time with a little bit of a glitch on it. So pretty interesting. Christmas gift. So this was given to their collectors, I assume. And you can see some of their other work here. So maybe a little glitched out there. I think we've seen this one before. So yeah, interesting. Give them a follow. And continuing on, this was just a cool pixel work by, I think this is Ripcash, who we were looking at the other day, who does the, does the cameras here, and who sells for like a fortune. I think might have gotten, if I had to theorize, I think might have gotten the Xcopy blessing a few months ago, and now they sell for like a huge amount of money, this person's work. So this is Ripcash here. I thought just a beautiful kind of pixel artwork of a surveillance camera. You can tell that's a big theme here. Huge shout out to the legend Xcopy Art. Congrats on your winning bid and on acquiring my latest one-of-one platform. So this is something you can just ride into the sunset in this scene. You see it's April 18th, 2022. They're probably pretty wise to just leave that posted up because that is just great press for this artist when the first time you come to Ripcash's page, he has gotten the Xcopy blessing. Continuing on, Stalomir. We have looked at Stalomir before. Let me just show you. Remember this guy with the really strange but cool pixel art? So here is more from Stalomir. It looks like a kebab kitchen in or restaurant in Berlin, frankly. This is like typical Stalomir. Where is Stalomir based? Ancient Alien, Achtunga, probably out of Germany, if I had to guess. They have foundation and object. So again, this is their object. Give them a follow. Continuing on, so this is interesting. So Ed Marola and I think Ilay, as we're going to see in the next tab here, made this kind of rainbow, or at least this is a sample from an Ilay piece that we actually looked at before here. So anyways, let's just play a bit of the music. Dream all colors, sound and pixel. What I find kind of interesting about this is this isn't like our Rebirth of the Single category where you're seeing kind of clear songs where the art is almost secondary, whereas here the music seems to be a supplement to the art. It's almost like the music is an atmospheric that is designed to heighten your aesthetic appreciation of the art. So kind of turning that kind of Rebirth of the Single idea on its head a little bit from my perspective. And if we go here, this is really cool. So Ed Marola tweets out his process on this, and it's actually super interesting to all you pixel artists out there and everybody else, frankly. Look at this. So he used Eduardo Pulitzer used some of Ilay's Prism Sky Glitch, which we have looked at, right? And you might even recognize these colors here. It was sampled by the artist to create this exciting rainbow sound and pixel Tego Dago dream. Thank you so much. So Ed Marola chimes in, and let me show you how I make it. Step 1, scale the image down so each pixel is one color. Okay. Step 2, sample the image in a brush set using the ultra useful Ben's brush add-on to Aseprite. So there's some alpha for you. Ultra useful Ben's brush add-on. So this does not come with Aseprite. There's add-ons. I didn't know you could have add-ons in Aseprite. I've only kind of touch and go with Aseprite. Seriously, if you like pixel art, you need this. Set brush size, create brush set. So it seems like a way of making brushes. So here's that. Step 3, draw using your new brush. So you see that kind of sampled brush look. But then he starts adding some more. Blur and jumble to make delicious textures. So you see Ed Marola's pretty, again, this is bold, just like that anime was kind of bold in that it would just pixelate anime line work. A great contrast, you could argue. Here, like, this is bold, because most people would be like, oh, that doesn't look great, but it's like, it's not about that. It's about the contrast and just creating different textures. And it does look good once you understand. Now, continuing on, but let's say you don't like the fog. Like Ed Marola reveals how he does it. Add dither for final touches, and there you have it. Don't tell anyone this. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I just saw that. Don't tell anyone this. It's top secret. It's brilliant. Okay, we'll move on very quickly here. Sorry, guys. But I mean, if you're going to post it on Twitter, folks like me are just like, and it's fascinating. And yeah, all good. Okay, Byte by Bit. I picked this one up. A very nice work by Byte by Bit. A few more nebulas. So this went for 10. And I picked this one up, a nebula, Planet Pixel Vela Junior Nebula. So I just kind of never get tired of these. And a one-of-one cool pixel artwork for, $5 or $6, $7. I guess $7. No one's complaining. This one's still available. Boomerang Nebula. So anyways, I continue to love that series. Continuing on, just a couple of works by mech.txt on Twitter. And so wishing everybody a good time. Very nice sunset. So he'll often kind of preview what's coming up on Twitter. And here was another interesting one. Last day of the year, I wonder how many tacos I ate in 2022. Looking forward for more tacos in 2023. Me too. We had tacos. I think I mentioned that, and they're delicious. Shout out to my girlfriend. Popple sent out a Happy New Year to everybody. Hand-drawn pixel art. And just a nice Happy New Year, Happy 2023 by Popple. So very cool little animation, very nicely done, by the way. And then the meteor creates the 3. So a very nice card of sorts, isn't it? Happy New Year to Popple. Thank you, Popple. Few from Tom Bombadil. So just reading the news here. With a different figure. I love what's going on up here. And I also love just like the very simple pixel art, like the square in the background. Like say the way he does the shadows here on the jacket and in the background, just that kind of checkerboard shadows. Very simple. Here's a couple more. Bizarre is in a market. And let's just make that bigger. So again, just kind of interesting and cool. Looks like some Arab writing there. Ancient Lighthouse. This is the most recent. And again, I just love the shading here. And look at the clouds, like these purple clouds, just done with that checkerboard, pixel brush. So anyways, very interesting. This was interesting too. Stair Wave by Iteration. These were gorgeous. Maybe some of you saw this. Look at this. So cheap too. 0.007 ETH. 10 of 10. Sold out. Look at how beautiful that is. I don't know if this is AI or not, but whatever it is, it's gorgeous. Maybe it says. Nothing here, but we do have the Twitter and artist. And they are on Object. Let's just do a quick search here. And created. Yeah, so they do a lot of vaporwave type stuff. So not too much information here. Hard to say, but this Stairwave series is beautiful. Maybe they call it Stairwave because it's like vaporwave kind of colors here. So here's another one. There are 4. So very nice. And again, selling for very cheap, which is pretty cool. Here's another one, Stairwave 2. And again, it's tempting to see this as AI, isn't it? But I don't know. And here's Stairwave 1, Open Edition. So I think this one was free. Okay, so that's also pretty cool. And we'll see how many were minted for free. But again, good looking work, 342 minted. So if you want your work to get out there, you can always do a free mint. Cool painting from Rare. To end the year, I Want to Believe is the name of the work. So again, playing with the Boston Dynamics dog, and this time kind of like playing off the whole motif of the cow being zapped up by the UFOs. So anyways, looking good from Rare. as usual. And thanks, I think Rare tweeted out, check out the Pocobelli's Artist Journal. I'm tweeting this just to tell you, just to show you that I don't just tweet the ones that I'm in. So anyway, shout out to Rare, thank you. Rick Austenbrook, I thought this was just an interesting abstract, isn't it? Kind of like an airbrushy abstract. I think we've seen their work before, but here's another reminder, Rick Austenbrook. Colors since 04, clients Porsche, Apple, Taylor Swift. They're on Super Rare. Let's just take a quick look. I think we've been here before, my friends. Let's just see. Digital artist from Netherlands, famous for his bold color use and new ways to create abstraction, creating digitally and analog since 06. So it has some pretty major clients. Wow, look at this. 20 ETH, 15 ETH, $24,000. $54,000, so this is probably, a year ago. $12,000, $91,000. That must have been, let's just look at the date on that. Holy geez. May 6th, 2022. So that is this year, right? Or I should say last year now, but this is during the bear. Wow. So good for Rick, doing very well. For an abstract work selling for 34 ETH or $91,000. Pretty impressive. Walk put out an auction, and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy digital artwork, and this is a 1 of 1, and this went for 50. So in the trademark kind of noise, blurred out style. So very cool work. Always curious to know what the originals are. I'm still trying to figure out. I know the painting of that previous work that he did. Again, let me just quickly bring that up if it hopefully doesn't create any problems here. If anybody, I feel like I totally know the colors of this artwork. If anybody knows this artwork, do let me know. Some looks like new work from Joanne. I already feel 2023 will be an epic year for all of us. Who's with me? I totally agree. I'm totally inspired and motivated to work like never before. So I hope you're feeling the same. So shout out to Joanne, and look at this beautiful AI and painting work. I was using a lot of Midjourney. I started, if you subscribe to Midjourney, you can upload an image. So, and there's a whole user's manual with Midjourney. So if you're just kind of randomly putting stuff in like I was, it kind of is worth looking at that stuff. A little bit of alpha on the AI front. And the more I work with AI, and I'm starting to a lot more, because it's something you can do just as you're going to bed on Discord, as you're, just put in prompts into Midjourney on Discord. The more I look at it, the more I totally respect AI. And I'm like, this is totally a real art form, and we're kind of stating the obvious at this point, but my point is the more you use it, the more you realize, in a sense, beware of, say, doing what I did at the start, which is don't start commenting too much on whether this is legitimate or not before using it. You really appreciate what people are doing here once you start trying to make things. So here's another one, Beyonder, who I've never seen before, building worlds, AI personality. So you see this, the AI personality of Hawken. So this is probably just for their AI art. Interesting, right? Another really nice piece here. This is by Kana Xapata, and they have just a really cool, if you put in, you can make some really cool computers on Midjourney, for instance. I don't know how this one was made, but seems to be clearly AI here. So anyways, pretty impressive, interesting work. And this Buddha on the screen. Martin Joe again with some very cool AI work here, and just kind of like cushions turning into bodies or something like that. Just very interesting, kind of reminiscent distantly to Varia in its kind of like high resolution look, and bodies kind of morphing and whatever, but totally its own thing here. So very interesting work. In the Kinky Bears, buy for 3, edition of 10. Always back to Marina Amadova, who's putting out a ton of work. Here's just another one of what I want to call the Twin series. I think she calls it the Bright Reflections collection. So anyways, let's just take a quick look. Nice work there. Yeah, look at these. Pretty reasonably priced some. I mean, $8.50 for edition of 15. Let's just, am I following a lot of people I follow on Twitter, and who I was just noticing that. So anyways, there's still some very nice works to get here for pretty reasonable prices. And let's just see, like, how much did this one of one go for? Let's just look here. 100 Tezos, which is $70 for AI one of one. I mean, not bad, I would say. Not bad. Mr. Shapeless is making a ton of work in the last week here. So Interesting Landscapes almost has a Peter Bruegel type feel to it, almost. So again, playing with these shapes in the sky. We have a few. Look at this too. Trying to think of the painter that this one reminds me of. But anyways, and these fabulous clouds here. So some really nice work being posted to Twitter. Again, this kind of has a Bruegel feel to it, doesn't it? The kind of snow, winter scene, but totally different. So interesting. And one more, I think, good night from Mr. Shapeless. So again, you look at how much, like, once you find your thing in AI, you can really go far with it, which is kind of fun. Like, these people are putting out like tons of work, like Mr. Shapeless. Let's just look at the date, December 30th, December 31st, December 30th, December 31st. You see where I'm going with this? Like, once you get your thing, it's just like you can crank it out, seemingly. Demon Ego, so some physical work here. GM, have a great Sunday. So just some nice work to look at here. I'm not sure if that's new or not. And again, I'm pretty sure Demon Ego said that they work physically. Also kind of a nice message here. When I abandoned the order, sterility, ornament, and aesthetic values determined by others, my works became more liberated, and the more they were free, the more diverse they became. And to me, this speaks to a really interesting part of making art, which is kind of your head game while you're making stuff. Because sometimes you can make stuff where you're just trying to make it look good and acceptable as your other works, and other times you can be totally creative and willing to just push and cross boundaries. So it's kind of fun, and usually that makes 10 times better work, right? So I kind of like this. To me, this speaks to the head game of being an artist, and how it's better to be free and not worry about stuff and take risks and actually have an experimental mindset. We have another work here from Demon Ego, What I Created in 2022. So I feel like they could call their series What I Created in 2022, and they have all these beautiful abstract works at Demon Ego, and it's kind of different from the other work. And we've been kind of posting or following a few of these on this show. And that, my friends, is the show. Thank you for watching, and I hope you had a great start to the new year. And until next time, take care.